cafe. Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Alright, I found a time in my window of time to speak with you on the show called Mike's Daily Podcast. I think I got a little bit of hiss on my microphone. How do you get rid of this? I don't know. Do you bring that down? Do you bring this up? Do you turn that over here? Oh wait, that seemed to help. I'm not sure if that did or if I'm just causing problems overall. Well, ooh, Mike's Daily Podcast. Yeah, that's called a crazy microphone. That's not. Oh, let's see. Maybe it's Mike's this. Daily. Ooh. How about podcast? Ah, here we go. Yeah. Jeez. Wow. That is, yes. That happens sometimes. I mean, it's a podcast, and you're going to need to record. So maybe there's something that's not connected properly. Make sure that's happening when you've got your cable connected to, or maybe you're just using your computer when you do your podcast. Like just recording from a microphone in the computer. If that's the case, it's going to sound like this. Hi, my name is Mike. Welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast. I'm using the microphone that's in the laptop, and my mouth is nowhere near that microphone, so you can't hear me. You just hear this echo, like I'm in a shower. Wasn't that fun? Yes, the fun of podcasting. You can have it too. Now, I don't know what kind of fun I would get into if I did a video cast, a video blog, a vlog. Wow. So many people doing that these days. So many people just jumping into that. I never, I was always fascinated by radio. Maybe it's because I don't like to necessarily sit down and watch something. I like to do something all the time so you can listen to it in the background and still get...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Interesting bits from it. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what pulled me into radio and all of that. Not so sure, but the podcast picture today is probably going to be something that involves a cat, perhaps? Or something my lovely lady friend took lately. But see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com because it's tremendous. It absolutely is. I can just tell from that because I'm having a premonition and seeing it in the future. Yeah, it's going to be a good picture. So see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. All the past podcast pictures are there. Oh, the late, great Basil the Boxer. Oh, I've been thinking about him a lot lately. And all the amazing fun times we had together. All the great places we saw. Thank you, Basil. Okay, it's episode 2369, oh, there it goes again. Wow. What is happening with this puppy? Yeah, I don't know if you caught that, but there, it's like my microphone, it's like a volcano exploding. Erupting like that place in the islands out there. That, which by the way, the volcano didn't have nearly as big an effect as that earthquake. I think the Japan earthquake a couple years back that really caused problems in Santa Cruz. But this one not so much. This tsunami, although terrible what it did over there, but. Yeah. So it's episode 2369. Just have to say this today about, I don't know if today was a Monday for a lot of people, but a lot of people were grumpy. Really, really grumpy. A lot of excess aggressiveness I caught today in and around the world and my job and everything. So it led me to ask this question. How do you deal with grumpy people? And by the way, I try to minimize the mouth sounds on this show. I know NPR is big on mouth sounds. Seth Meyers made that joke on a recent show of his Closer Look segment. And my lovely lady friend concurred about that in fact, they do a lot of mouth sounds on that because it's just very dry. There's not much excitement. Like this podcast is exciting. Look at all these people here. Look at this party going on here at Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valleymont, the last place on earth. Look at it, they're having so much fun. So we cannot really spend as much time, since we're hanging out with all these people here. We don't have time to video them, and they don't want to be on camera, so that's understandable. I don't necessarily want to be on camera, though I do a little, what do you call it, a thing, that little videoette is what I call it, a videoette that you can see at MikesDailyPodcast.com and also on YouTube, youtube.com/MikesDailyPodcast. But we've all been around them, the grumpy. Not the people that are occasionally irritated or down in the mouth. That's part and parcel of being a human being. Now, that article is from psiloveyou.com, and already in the first paragraph, they've got all these expressions that yours truly would probably never use. Oh. Did I just kill my mic? I think I just killed my microphone there. The grumpy. Oh, part and parcel. Not exactly an expression I use. Or, what's that other one? Down in the mouth. Never really used that expression either, so. Hang on, I gotta beat up this microphone.
Later that day.
Yeah, hopefully that fixed it. I had to go and have a talk with the microphone. I think I talked about recently how I'm trying to really get behind and understand what all these expressions are that we just say, part and parcel, every day without like even analyzing why we're saying it. We just say it. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Mont, the last place on earth. Maybe it's the full moon. Maybe that's what did it. People got the full moon fever. The people for whom nothing goes right, nothing is good enough, everyone is out to get them, the traffic lights are rigged. Yes. So how do you deal with these crabby people? Ensure you're not perceiving grumpiness that isn't there. Some people, they just come off in ways they don't realize. I've been told more than once that I have a more severe effect than is warranted by my personality. It took having a passport photo taken of me to understand it. I was precluded from smiling. So, make sure you're not perceiving a grumpiness that isn't. Recognize that some people aren't happy unless they're unhappy. There isn't a whole lot you can do about that. These are the people who wait in line for 12 minutes to take a bagel back to the counter because they weren't given cracked wheat instead of 12 grain. Or fire up Yelp to draft a 1,000-word diatribe against an Arby's. Yes, an Arby's. With their wonderful roast beef and their wonderful huge signs that are illuminated so beautifully. Are they only in California now? For those people, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to Care Bear stare them with enough positive energy to overcome their inclinations. Which, by the way, speaking of interesting signs, roadside attractions and roadside signs, there's one in South Carolina I never knew about called South of the Border that Andrew Wu went to recently on his video blog, and it was fascinating. He's actually been there a couple of times, but I had never heard of it because I'm over here on the West Coast. And we are not too far away from the Mexico border, and this is sort of a Mexican-themed, very quiche, very campy, very, really? Guys, this may have been okay in the 50s, but not anymore type thing. But, yes, very fascinating to me that place still exists after like 70 years. Understand that for many, creating unhappiness is a way of exerting control. Having found themselves not to be sharp enough to create things of value, some people resort to creating chaos and make watching it unfurl a hobby. They're the gossips, the double dealers, the backbiters. Be careful of them. Make sure you don't become a grump yourself. Nobody goes into adulthood with grumpiness as a goal, or wakes up one morning, stretches, and says, I think I'm going to murder all semblance of joy in my life and be miserable now. No, it's a slow slide into that pit. It happens when we ruminate on our resentments and meditate on others' mistakes. It's usually a poison we slowly self-administer, one drop, one heavy sigh, one rolled eye, one profanity at a time. Inoculate yourself from grumpiness by taking time for Thanksgiving. Not one day a year, but every day. No matter your lot, you're better off than a lot of the people peppering this water-strewn rock we're spinning around on. That fact begs thankfulness. Every day, even if it lasts for 10 seconds, submerge yourself in a spirit of gratitude for something specific in your life. The attitude of gratitude. Yes, that wonderful cliche trope nugget. If you could be your partner or pet, your kid or your family, friends or job, it could be something more fundamental, your ability to read and speak, the freedoms you enjoy, the physical abilities you have. Realize what could be and make your sigh of relief at that non-being a prayer of thanks to what or whomever you wish. Stay zesty, says R. Justin Freeman, who wrote that. But I get that. It makes a lot of sense, that being thankful, being grateful for what you have. Stop dwelling in the negativity. I've said it many times on this show that when I met my lovely lady friend 4 years ago, in fact, I said it on the podcast right after I met her, that she was very positive, and I need in my life more positive people, because at that point I realized there's a lot of negative people. You're going to find a lot more negative people than positive people in this world. So it makes sense to stay around the positive people, to remain in the positive, to spend more time with positive people. Usually the negative people, you spend time with them because you have to, because they're family. And you can't choose your family unless you get married to your family. And you create that family. Then you've created then you're in a mess. But yes, it is important to try to be positive in this world, despite the negative people that, it's at work. I can't choose the people I work with. Not if I want to make money. Or let's just say I don't have the luxury of picking the people I can work with. Not all of the people. So, surround yourself with positive people as much as you can, is what I'm saying. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. This has been a very helpful podcast, Mike Matthews.
And look who else, thank you. Look who else is here. That's a very positive comment. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, Mike. I heard about that place in South Carolina. It looks pretty trashy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's sort of a tradition. People go there. They like the trashiness. They like the fact that it's been there forever. And that explains a lot of bizarre roadside attractions in this world. That's just how it is. It's bizarre. The bizarre American fascination with places like that. And my fascination with this microphone that's acting all weird today. But we got through it. We got through the podcast. And next podcast, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Tell me what you think about anything we covered today. 336mm daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily is in what this podcast tries to be, but gets interrupted like yesterday. But I wanted to spend some time with my lovely lady friend. I didn't have time to do the podcast during the window I usually have to do it. Here's the thing, though. She and I ended up spending time watching a movie on Netflix. Netflix, who's raising their prices. because they got everybody watching them, despite the fact there's all these other streaming services now. The HBO Max, what's the other one? The Disney Plus, and all the other pluses. There's so many pluses now. No minuses, interestingly enough. I should start a streaming service called Mike Matthews Minus. You can't steal that idea, that's mine. But yes, we should minus this negativity in the world. But do not see, if you don't want to be in a sad mood, because after watching this particular documentary that we saw on Netflix, I mean, it really got us. I think it's called The Alpinist. It refers to a type of person that likes to climb really jagged peaks. And in this particular one, they were talking about alpinists that are soloists. In other words, they climb mountains without rope. They just climb with their hands, with their feet, climbing away. And if they make one wrong move, they're dead. And you watch this and you're like, this person's crazy. Why would you do that? But there's so many, it's a craze. A lot of people are fascinated by it. You may know people that do it. For a brief time in the 90s, when I was still pretty young and athletic, well, I was never athletic, but I was young, I tried doing it for a minute because I had a friend named Jim who was into doing it. And they said, oh, you got to buy special shoes. And I said, nope, not going to do it because I'm cheap. Not going to buy the expensive shoes. I'll just do it this one time because I don't really like it. But I did I got a little taste of it. I got to see what it was like. And what I found is, and this is maybe what the fascination is with rock climbing, is that you are focused only on what is happening on the rock. Now, I had a rope tied to me, so if anything went wrong, I'd be caught by the rope. But still, there is this focus that you block out everything else. It's a form of escapism in that way, that you block everything else out, all your problems, all your worries. And this really wonderful kid named Marc Andre, he did this all the time. And, well, it didn't end well for him. I'm not going to say exactly what happened. However, maybe I'm doing you a favor by telling you, because I had no idea what happened to him. So something bad happened to him, and I didn't realize something bad happened to him. So I'm watching this and thinking, oh, this all ended well, and then I'm like, what? Cafe anyway. It was really depressing because he was a nice kid who was only like 25 when the bad thing happened to him. And you're like, wow, that's unfortunate because he was a nice, positive kid, and we need more people like that in this world. But he was also doing an extremely dangerous activity that he was well aware that it was very dangerous, but he still continued to do it, and people cheered him on and said, oh, that's fantastic. You should keep doing that. Now, here's the big question I have about this movie. How the heck did they film him? Because he's up here on the top of this mountain, and they've got these perfect camera shots of him. And that is the biggest mystery. I can't figure that one out. If you think you know, I need to do some research on the matter, because that's what really has me scratching my head. But you can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is a Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been now for... Nope, we have done that this year. We've... a couple times this year we were daily, and then I got interrupted by things like yesterday by this sad documentary. Thank you so much, Netflix. But you can chime in 336MM Daily and let me know what you think about anything that we covered today, and with more on how to contact me. It's a frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!